What's good, y'all? It's Jay, and today we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of calisthenics versus weightlifting. All right, guys, so this is calisthenics versus weights. Let's just get right into it, all right? We're going to start off with the pros. First up on the list of pros for calisthenics, as we all know, the convenience factor, okay? Calisthenics exercises can be done anywhere, okay? That's the best part about it. I don't need to have a gym. I don't need to have an equipment. If I want to do push-ups in my house right now, I could literally stop right now, no equipment, do some push-ups. I could do pike push-ups. The only thing you probably need is like a pull-up bar, but even then, you don't fully need a pull-up bar because if you want, you could make a makeshift pull-up bar, or you could use your door frame rather, like just do pull-ups on your door. You know what I'm saying? So easily, convenience is the number one pro for calisthenics. By the way, in this video, I'm comparing regular calisthenics, regular bodyweight calisthenics to weightlifting. All right, so I'm not including weighted calisthenics in this video. All right, I really considered this and I really thought about that, but if I make weighted calisthenics a part of the calisthenics side of this video, then it kind of like makes calisthenics like the super topic, right? And it kind of compounds the both of them, and weighted calisthenics to me is going to win every time. Pro number two of calisthenics is you don't need a spotter and it's safer. Because I'm not lifting weights or anything like that, I'm doing pull-ups and stuff like push-ups, dips, I don't need anybody to spot me to make sure I don't hurt myself on the lift. If I'm going for a dip and I can't do the dip and I can't come up, all I gotta do, like I said in my last video, even though I was referencing weighted calisthenics then, I just gotta come down, just gotta stand up, right? If I'm trying to do a pull up and I can't pull up, I just gotta, let my feet touch the floor again, let go of the bar. That's it. I don't need a spotter. I feel much safer doing calisthenics because you're not putting as much external load on your body, and your only true resistance is your own body weight, which for the most part it can handle unless you're just like extremely overweight. All right, let's get on to the next pro. Pro number three for calisthenics, it translates better. It'll translate better in terms of your strength, right? If you get really good at calisthenics, say you get to the point you're doing one-arm push-ups and you're doing one-arm pull-ups and things like that. If you could do a one-arm pull-up, you probably could do a great job on the lat pull-down machine in the gym. You know what I'm saying? It just translates way better than weights would ever translate into calisthenics. Like, I'm not saying as a calisthenic athlete that you will be as strong as a weightlifter, a person that specifically does that all the time. But I'm saying the carryover, the transition to how much you can lift will be a better transition than it would be from the weightlifter into calisthenics. Pro number four is compound movements and core all the time. Calisthenics exercise is just filled and filled and filled with core movements and compound exercises. Push-ups compound, pull-ups compound, dips compound. If you don't know what compound exercise is, it's basically working multiple muscle groups at the same time. All right, you're working multiple muscle groups or using multiple joints at the same time. It doesn't really have that many isolation exercises in calisthenics, but that's a good thing. You want to always first and foremost focus on compound lifts when you're working out. And it engages your core a lot because you need your core to stabilize you during the majority of these calisthenics movements. Let's move on to the next one. The last pro for calisthenics is that the athletes are generally leaner, okay? The athletes are generally leaner because in order to be good at calisthenics, you have to be strong in relation to your body weight, all right? So if you have too much body fat, that's extra weight that's kind of just holding you back, right? That weight is holding you back and it's making it harder for you to perform the exercises, right? But if the majority of your body is muscle, if it's lean mass, then it's easier to perform the calisthenic exercises. So as you get better at calisthenics or whatever, usually the people that do calisthenics, if you look at them versus weightlifters and everything like that, calisthenics athletes are leaner. Also, because they're lighter as well. You know what I'm saying? Weightlifters like to put on the mass because they want to lift the most weight. Calisthenics athletes want to be lighter, want to lose body fat so they could basically fly through the motions. You know what I'm saying? The lighter that you are with calisthenics, the easier it's going to be to complete all of the movements. All right, so let's get on to the weight pros. All right, guys? Pro number one for the weights is that it's easy to adapt. When I say it's easy to adapt, I mean like anybody could do it. Anybody could go lift weights. I don't care if it's a bench press, squat, deadlift, whatever. As long as you pick a light enough weight it's easy to adapt and train it. You still have to learn the form like you do with every exercise, but it's easier to do something. If I'm learning the bench press for the first time with dumbbells, it's way easier for me to do it with 5 pounds immediately. I don't have to go try to bench the heaviest weights in the gym. I'm learning the exercise. I could pick up 5 pounds and practice that if that's where my strength was at. So literally anybody could really adapt to weightlifting. That's pro number one. Pro number two is that it gives you more resistance and it's easier to put on mass. Those two things go together because the more resistance you have and more reps. If I could do 225 for 10 reps versus doing 315 for 10 reps, and since I'm able to put on that extra resistance, I'm able to put on that extra mass to my frame, and so it's easier, literally, like I said, in comparison with the calisthenics thing. The calisthenics athletes are lighter. It's easier to put on mass and be a bigger person overall in general. If you want that size, that look to you, it's easier to put on mass with weights. Pro number, man, I'm forgetting at this point. I think it's pro number 3 though. For weights is max strength, but that kind of goes with the increased resistance. Because of the increased resistance, you're able to lift more weight and you're able to be stronger. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm gonna leave it at that. The last pro for weights is that you could do isolation exercises more. Because it's not like calisthenics in the way that it's primarily always compound. There are compound exercises for weights, but since it's not primarily only compound, you get to do stuff like your bicep curls and your tricep extensions. You get to focus on your lacking muscle groups if you feel that you have any. You get to literally hone in on those things and improve those specific things if you need to. So that's the last pro for weights I got for y'all. Now, let's move on to the cons. We're gonna go back to calisthenics for a second to talk about the cons. And really, I only got 2 cons for calisthenics. So we're gonna put them both right here. The first con for calisthenics is that it's harder to adapt, as in it's not that easy to go from doing a 2-arm pull-up to learn to do a 1-arm pull-up. And actually, even with that, a lot of people can't do regular 2-arm pull-ups. So it's not that easy to just adapt. To walk up to calisthenics and be like, hey, I'm gonna do a pull-up today, versus how you, with weights, you could just say, I'm gonna do a lat pull down, and no matter what the weight is, you're always gonna be able to perform that lat pull down. You can't immediately perform a pull-up. So it is harder to adapt, and there's less resistance, like I said. Since there's less resistance, you're not going to put on as much mass as you would when you're lifting weights. But that's really only the only cons that I have for calisthenics that I could think of. If you got more cons, if you got more cons for it, leave it in the comment section down below. But honestly, I could eliminate one of the cons with the resistance thing if you turn it into weighted calisthenics. But that's why I said I'm not even gonna make this a weighted calisthenics conversation, because that just makes you into a guy. I ain't gonna lie. All right, so the cons of weightlifting: you need equipment. You need equipment. You need to go to the gym. You need to buy equipment to have in your house if you want to complete your exercise routine. And you don't have to do that with calisthenics, right? So it's not as convenient in terms of being able to do your workouts anytime, anywhere. You need stuff with you if you want to perform these exercises. Basically, you got to pay more money if you want to continue to work out. Calisthenics is free at all times if you want it to be. The next con with weights is the injury. Because like I said, calisthenics is safer. With weights, I'm more likely and more prone to getting injured because of the external load. I could easily be stupid and just put 500 pounds on my back for a squat and destroy my spine or whatever the case may be, because I put on a load that was just too heavy for myself. You need a spotter with weights. You need a spotter if you're gonna test a 1-rep max, or if you want to go to absolute failure. You can't go to absolute failure with weights unless you have somebody there to spot you to know this is your absolute max. And if you don't have a spotter, then you will never be able to go to absolute failure, because you'll always have to stop at the point where you feel like you wouldn't have been able to do more. You can't test to see if you were able to do more. You just have to stop because you feel like you wouldn't have been able to. And I like that more with calisthenics, is that I could go as far as I'm capable of and know this is literally my limit, you know? The last con for weights is it just doesn't translate the same to calisthenics. Just because I could do great on the lat pull down does not mean I could kill it on pull-ups, at all. You could, because imagine a 300-pound man, mad big, doing the lat pull down for the whole rack, right? The whole rack. Just because he's that strong doesn't mean he has good relative strength. Relative strength, which is your strength in relation to your body weight. When he goes and tries to do pull-ups, it's possible that he can't even do one. And if he does one, it's more likely that's lower reps, unless that's an individual that's extremely lean and cut up at 300 pounds, which is very hard to do. Then at that point, you know, the translation is not the same. It's not as easy. Like I said, I don't think one person is just going to translate to the other and dominate the other one if they really don't do both. But at the same time, if you translating from weight to calisthenics and calisthenics to weight, I believe the calisthenics athlete is going to translate better. The weights don't really translate into calisthenics like that, you know, unless you're doing it. And lastly, like I said, if you want to end the whole debate, like I said, the best thing, weighted calisthenics, guys, because you doing calisthenics exercise, you're doing compound movements, which involves your core more, and you're being leaner and everything like that, while at the same time adding all the extra resistance. Are you kidding me? Weighted calisthenics is the answer, yo. But you already know where I stand on this. Calisthenics is my preference. I'm not knocking weights, though. I do both of them. But you already know primary calisthenics athlete, secondary weight. But we all hybrids here, all right? So if you did enjoy the video, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Follow my Instagram down below. It's going to be in the description. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one.